Hi everyone, my name's Heather Gray. I'm over at ChooseToHaveItAll.com. I'm a clinically trained coach working with folks on choosing happiness and building the lives they want despite the mental blocks and mindset struggles that they get caught up in their heads that often get in the way of them living their dreams. So I got a question this morning in my email that I just thought I would take advantage of and jump on live to help you out, and maybe you all can learn from the question. So Mike was asking me, he's an IT guy, he's 26 years old, and he just started at a new company only 6 months ago. And his boss recently approached him and said, hey, have you ever thought about being a project manager? Have you ever thought about having your own department? I think you're ready. I think you're good. I think you have the skill sets involved. And Mike still feels too new at the job, that there's things about the company that he still doesn't understand. He thinks he's pretty young for the position. He'd be supervising people who are older than him. And his question to me was, how do you know you're ready to lead? And I think that there's a couple of things to think about here. So Mike, I'm just going to take a stab at it, give you my thoughts, and hopefully you'll make the decision that's right for you. So here's the thing, is that when somebody tells you that I think you're ready to lead, I think you have what it takes to run a department, to run a company, to take the next step, the first thing that often happens for people, especially if they're not seeking that opportunity, is the gremlin in their head starts to talk and starts to ask themselves, like, well, why me? Why should I be doing this? Why'd you pick me? Or this immediate sense of like imposter syndrome jumps into their heads where they think, oh my God, I've just been faking it. Like, you have no clue how much I don't know. And you start to just talk to yourself. And Mike, it sounds a little bit like that might be what you're doing, that you have a supervisor who sees your talent, who sees what you're capable of, and the gremlin in your head is starting to feel a little bit like a poser, like you're not where you're supposed to be. It sounds like you're insecure a little bit about your age and the fact that you've only been with the company for 6 months. But here's the thing, is you got that job for a reason, and my guess is it's because 6 months ago they saw your potential, and now you're moving into that potential and they want you to take the next step. So the first thing to think a little bit about, and you didn't say this in the email, but this is important, is that you have to decide for yourself, not if you think you can do it, which I think is the question that's probably tripping you up, but do you want this job? Do you want this opportunity? Do you like the idea of being in charge? If I could hand you a magic ball and say, you're going to have all the skills, all the communication strategies you're going to need, your team is going to love you, they're never going to question you, do you want to be the person in charge? Not everybody wants that. I think our sort of culture in our community kind of nurture this idea that that's the thing we're supposed to want, that that's the bar we're supposed to reach for for success, that that's what success is when you get promoted, when you earn the next position. So a lot of times people are never even like encouraged to ask. But Mike, I'm encouraging you to ask yourself first, is this something I want? It got handed to me unexpectedly. I wasn't really looking for it. I didn't think I was ready, but do I want it? Is this something I want to do? And I would ask yourself that first. And if the answer is yes, then you move to the how. If the answer is no, then I think you go back to your supervisor and you say, hey, listen, I love my role in the company. I love what I'm doing. I'm really happy with where I'm at now. Maybe now's just not the right time for me to think about something else. I'll let you know in the future. But right now I'm good. And just, keep the door open, because after you've been there for a little while longer, you might, want that opportunity again. But if the answer is yes, and you're just scared of failing, of tripping and falling, of not meeting this person's expectations, who you've likely come to respect and build a nice relationship with, fear isn't a reason to not say yes to this, because there's a lot of different tricks and ways of looking at this situation that you can use to set yourself up for success. The first thing is that if somebody's telling you to be a manager, the first thing that probably is happening for you is you're imagining what some standard of manager looks like, how they talk, how they communicate, how they run things. And if you don't see yourself in that picture, you might think that you're incapable. But there's a lot of different ways of managing, and there's a lot of different ways of leading. And what I would do is I would encourage you to get, to kind of take a second a little bit and think about, like, if I were to be a manager, if I were to be a leader, a supervisor, What kind of supervisor do I want to be? What would I want to bring to the table? What would I want the people I supervise to know about me? Because if you can get clear on that, then when you earn the position and you're given the responsibility, that's what you communicate to your team members, and you say, listen, I love being with the company. I know that some of you might be kind of concerned because I've only been here for 6 months. I know that there's others of you here who are probably going to be put off by the fact that I'm younger than you. And, your experience is going to count for something, but here's what I have to bring to the table. And you call out the sort of perceived weaknesses and communicate transparently about it, and talk to your team about the kind of leader you want to be, what they can expect from you, the questions you have, and how you want to work with them. You get to predefine all of that. Just because it's been handed to you, project manager or supervisor or department head, doesn't mean you don't get an opportunity to do it your own way, in your own style. Obviously, the job expectations are going to need to be met, and the standards are going to need to be upheld, but that's all that's the non-negotiable part. But the negotiable part is how you get there and how you build a team. The other thing I would pay attention to is that you were naturally perceived as a leader. Not everybody gets that knock knock on the door of saying, hey, do you want to lead? Hey, do you want to be supervising somebody? So the fact that somebody reached out to you, Mike, and asked you about that sort of implies to me a little bit that on some natural level, you were already leading. And if that's true, if you're setting an example, if you're modeling for others, if you're the first to say yes, if you're signing up, if you're helping out, if you're pitching in, then you should get paid for that. And you should have the title that says you've earned that position, because that's how we're going to get our self-worth, right? Is that when we do our best and our best gets recognized, we get a hit of confidence. If we push down that hit of confidence because we don't think we deserve it, because we sort of brush it off, or we tell ourselves it's no big deal, then I think all you're doing is you're still setting yourself up to fail. So what I would start to think a little bit about for yourself is, what are the things that you have done that have gotten you here? You didn't just get handed this position. You didn't just get handed this opportunity. You earned it. You earned this man's respect, whoever it was that walked in and said, hey, I'd like you to do this. So what are the things you did? Because that's what you're bringing to the table. So when the gremlin in your head starts poking at you and picking at you and telling you that you don't deserve it, that it's too soon, that you're too young, that's what you talk back to. That's the trick with mindset. It's not about just puffing us up with false platitudes and stupid cliches. It's about answering back to the doubts and to the fears with action and actual evidence that we have to support our new adventure, whatever we're going on. But again, Mike, I think that the trick here for you is going to be to slow this down, to first ask yourself if you want it. And then if you want it, then you can't let fear stop you from taking it, because something about this is happening organically. It's happening naturally as a result of who you are and what you're bringing to that workplace. I would embrace that. Obviously, you're allowed to have questions. You're allowed to seek clarification, but questions and a need for clarification are not a reason to say no. They're not obstacles. It's just information that you need for yourself to make an informed decision. So I would just go back to your boss and say, yes, the answer is yes. Yes, I want to lead. Yes, I want to manage, but this is where I'm a little unsure. And if you feel like there's a hole, like there's just literally something you don't know, or that is going to set you up to fail in the position because you're not equipped, say that out loud. Check your facts, so have your boss say, oh yeah, absolutely, before you take on this position, you would absolutely need to familiarize yourself with X, Y, and Z. But if, Mike, if he doesn't do that and he doesn't respond to that, then I wouldn't I wouldn't start thinking you're inept until somebody tells you that you are. Don't believe your hate. Don't believe the gremlin in your head. Don't let yourself lead with fear. Let yourself lead with confidence by your demonstrated ability. So those are the different thoughts I have, Mike. I hope it helps you. I hope it helps too other people who are being asked to step up in various places of their lives. And if you don't feel ready, I think a lot of these things I'm talking about are still applicable, and you can still apply them to whatever situation you find yourself in. So if you have any questions, you need any more information, certainly pop them down in the comments, or visit me over at Choose to Have It All community group over on Facebook, and you can find me there too. Thanks so much, guys. Hope you have a good day. Bye.